It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Nah, I'm not the problem. Man, that's
all right. We're about to get started. Thank you all for joining here. Great to see you, Royal Bloodlines.
I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb.
We're gonna be getting started here very soon.
Are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately it's you.
Please, guys, hit the like button as you're coming in. I'm hopefully. Can someone tell me if you can hear me? Let me know if you can hear me clearly.
I like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby. It's you.
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Baby, it's you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
What did you think?
Welcome.
The Junky Podcast, giving you what's hot and real. Off the rip, turn up the volume and give it up for CJ.
In the mirror, man, you so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you. You stole your
All right. Is that better?
put it on me, but baby, it's you.
You might have to turn your volume down a little bit. Thank you. All right.
Baby, it's you.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining this another episode of The Red Room. I am truly appreciative of you guys being here. We're going to have a good conversation. So let's get right into this thing. Because we are going to be talking about what's going on in the industry right now, why the record labels are now I can never say that word right. Prioritizing Latin music and Afrobeat over rap. So they're choosing Afrobeats and Latin music over rap. And we're going to have a good candid conversation about this. And before I even start, let me go ahead and just lay the ground rules, because what I'm going to be talking about today is some real candid conversation. And so this is the Red Room. If you're so sensitive, I would ask that you leave the Red Room right now. If you're the type that can't take the truth, please, I would ask that you leave right now. If you're the type that gets easily offended when facts are presented, I'm going to ask that you also leave right now, okay? Because I'm going to be giving you some real facts about this, and I'm going to be showing you some data and figures. So here's what you're going to get in this video. We're going to go over some stats and statistics regarding why record labels are now choosing Afrobeats and Latin music, why these two music genres are being considered and placed in front or being chosen, and rap music and hip-hop rap genre is taking a back seat. We're going to have a real conversation about this. And so that's my disclaimer. If you are, again, oversensitive, I would ask that you leave, because I've got my mods who know full well that we don't tolerate anything that has to do with disrespect on this platform. We don't do that. Okay, so let's talk about this. So as I mentioned, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get me. I'm going to give you some stats regarding what we're seeing within the industry of music. I'm going to also talk to you in terms of the future, why the record labels are making this decision with these two music genres, how population growth is playing a role in this. And I'm also going to tell you also how behavior and what the consumers are tired of seeing, what consumers are fed up as it relates to music. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you some information regarding that. And we're going to have a good conversation. And I'm also going to tell you, especially with Nigerians who are spearheading the Afrobeat music genre, I'm going to tell you why you are playing a pivotal role with the Black culture and what you need to be looking out for. I'm going to give you who your friends are, who I think our friends are, and I'm going to tell you who I think our enemies are. Because understand that most cases in life, your friends come from outside and your enemies are usually from within. And when I say enemies, I'm talking about, I don't mean it in terms of life and death situation. I mean in terms of people who will support the growth of Afrobeat and also the contribution of this beautiful Black music genre in our society, as well as those who are not going to support it and they're going to fight it. We're going to have this conversation today. Let's get into, I want you to see this article real quickly, because I've got quite a few articles I want to present, and I'm going to share my screen. And I want you guys to take a look at this, because this is where, and I'm going to read some of these things. So hold on here. Okay. Let me share my screen. I don't think you guys can see that, but let me go ahead and do this. Okay. I would imagine you guys can see my screen now. Okay. So a gentleman named Ebro, who is one of the co-presenter on Hot 97 radio station, released a tweet. And I want to read some of what he said regarding, well, he's an insider. He's a radio presenter. He's on the radio. And he's known in the hip hop community or the music world. And this is what he says. And I want to read what's going on here within the industry. I want to go over this. So Ebro spotlights paradigm shift as major labels prioritize thriving Afrobeats over dead rap. It says, according to a recent hot take by a prominent American radio personality and DJ Ibrahim Jamil, Ebro, Darden, major record labels increasingly favor Afrobeats and Latin music over hip hop. Now, the internet became this again. Let me make sure that this was released August 21st, 2023. So this is very new. Now, the internet became a battleground of opinions when the Ebro in the Morning co-host took onto Twitter to disclose information he had acquired from an insider within a prominent record label. This revelation indicates a shift in the interest of major label, diverting their attention from hip-hop artists towards African and Latin music. Now, Ebro Darden elaborates on this shift, attributing it to the perception that rap music has grown monotonous and uninspiring. He further points out that the risk of TikTok influence has adversely affected the depth and effort put into music creation. So here's the tweet that he sends out. It should be noted many major record labels have now deprioritized signing rappers. A multitude of perspectives emerged in response to his revelation. Some voices aligned with Ebro's viewpoints, contending that numerous emerging rappers were adopting to repetitive styles, often glamorizing violence and prioritizing clout over artistic qualities. These critics maintain that such content resonates primarily due to its appeal on social media platforms. Conversely, another group cast the spotlight on the record labels themselves, asserting that they were grappling with the realization of a diminishing control over the artist markets due to prominence of independent promotion through social media. The labels, they argue, were growing uncomfortable with a shift in dynamic. Now, amidst this deliberation, it's crucial to acknowledge the incredible ascent of Afrobeats on a global stage. These music genres have evolved into undeniable force, transcending geographical boundaries. Noteworthy artists have risen to fame within the Afrobeat genres, with a significant share of the limelight now belonging to them. Recent instances include Ashake's remarkable feat of selling out prestigious O2 arenas in under 2 years of gaining prominence, Rema's triumphant world tour and dominance and denominations of Billboard charts, Ira Starr ongoing world tour, and Thames widespread international appeal. These rising stars exemplify a new wave of Afrobeat talent. Okay. Now, this is an eye opener. This is something that the record labels are seeing. And let me give you more information about this, because I want you to understand why they're making these decisions right now. So here's some new stats. In terms of Afrobeat, this is what Spotify put together for Afrobeat's growth over the last couple of years, since 2017. And it says that Afrobeat has grown from 2017 to last year, 2020, 550%. Okay. In 2017, Afrobeats was streamed 2 billion times. In 2018, 2.9 billion times. In 2019, 4.2 billion times. 2020, 5.9 billion times. 2021, 8.4 billion times. And then last year, 13.5 billion times. So the growth of Afrobeat is year after year. This is what the record labels are seeing to really conclude or have the conclusion they have. Now, here's what they're talking about Latin music. So Billboard, please make sure you're hitting the like button as you're coming in, please. So Billboard released something January of this year. And it says the growth in Latin and world music is more than just Bad Bunny. So Bad Bunny is a Latin artist. I think he's one of the biggest artists right now. And I think he is a Puerto Rican. But he's been killing it in the charts, really slaying it out here. Here's what it says. So between 2020 and 2022, Latin music grew 55.29% in album consumption in the US alone, according to Luminate, far outstripping the overall industry, which is 21.6%, as well as the 4 biggest genres in the US, which are R&B and hip hop, which grew by 12.17%, rock, 22.28%, pop, 20.64%, and country music, 19.22%. So for all those 4 big ones, rap, hip hop, and R&B grew the least. It says, in Latin alone, the world music has also made tremendous strides over the time period, growing 47.67%, which is where they put Afrobeat also. It says from 2020 to 2022, stateside growth of K-pop and Afrobeat, among others, had this growth. That is Billboard. Here's another Billboard one in last year. Before we even go into that, let's talk about Statista. Statista, Anna Fleck from Statista also put together a survey to understand what music is right now. And Latin music fan, it says the growth of Latin music. So Latin music is gaining more and more popularity around the world, with Bad Bunny, Karol G, and Anita, just some of the artists who have become international sensation in recent years. This is partly thanks to the streaming, which has improved music generally. So people have, basically the fact that people are streaming makes it easy for people to access music easily. So that has a lot to do with it. This is what they're saying. Now the Grammy Awards also put something out. So the RIAA report, which is basically stands for the Recording Industry Association of America, says in 2019 year-end Latin music industry revenue reports that was publicly published last year. It says that the revenue, Latin music grew by 28% to $554 million last year, marking the highest figure the market has ever seen since 2006. Comparatively, the U.S. market grew 13% in the same year. Okay, let's see what they say about hip hop. So here's what Billboard puts out about hip hop last year. This is October of last year. You guys can find this information online. It says, is hip hop dominance slipping? My concern is the magic is gone. Now, while hip hop and R&B remains the industry's best performing genre, its growth is slowing and execs are concerned excitement is stagnating. Okay. Now, these are the reality of where things are in terms of the music genres that we're seeing that are climbing the charts. It's undeniable that Afrobeat has made a mark in society today. It's not news anymore. Everyone knows this. Anyone arguing this is just someone that's not part of the reality. Now, I think that most people will be shocked to see that Latin music is right up there. I think most people, I was shocked. I know Latin music, was a thing, and I know a lot of people jive to it, but I didn't think it was breaking charts as significant as when I read this article. It was shocking to me. And then I began digging deeper as to what is fueling this, what is causing the rise of Latin music and African music. What is it about these two music genres that is outperforming the likes of rap and hip hop? What is it? And obviously it took me to the direction that I think most people are aware of, which is what we just read, is that when it comes to these two music genres to execs and to consumption are clean and have nothing like violence involved in it. The one thing that has been killing rap slowly is the violence with hip hop and the violence with rap. Now, I have to make the distinction because when you talk about hip hop, you're talking about rap, talking about R&B, you're talking about other variations of rap like screws and gangster rap, so there's quite a few variations under the umbrella of hip hop. In my opinion, I think R&B will have a safe place in our future. I think that there is still a future for the R&B market. With the hip hop market, the rap market, I think that's a dead genre. I think that what we're going to see is a lot of people really moving away, like we're seeing right now. Most people are moving away from that because of the association of violence that is tied to that. The association of crime that is tied to rap. And it's become increasingly unbearable. That now you're finding artists on the internet emulating behaviors on social media platforms. They're not original anymore. They're trying to win fan base. They're trying to win followers. And basically, the consumers who have lingered from the 30s, from the 1990s and the 80s and 90s and 2000 when rap was at its highest. But this is when we began to see a lot of that violence thing that we're talking about. I think a lot of people bought into this and have gotten comfortable with it to where when we're seeing TikTok, the rise of TikTok social media, and when we see that these platforms really help the rise of Afrobeat, I think a lot of rappers thought that they would need to cater to the social media fan base and what they think they want rather than be artistically creative in their craft. And on top of that, we saw the emergence of people on social media glorifying the violence in a lot of the rap music videos. And this now is translated into the streets in our communities. Now, here's what I want you to understand also. The record labels are not to be used as a way to measure great music. The record labels don't determine great music. What determines great music are consumers. Because understand that the violence in hip hop and rap, let me just make that distinction, has been going on since in the 90s. It is not new. I mean, we all are familiar with the stories with the East Coast and West Coast. We're all familiar with this. However, the record labels continue to push that out there because it sold records. It sold. They were making money. The bottom lines were good. So the reason why I'm saying the record labels are not to be used as a way to measure good music or whatever is because they promoted this. And in many times, they even influenced the rappers and the artists to move in that direction because at the time, that was what society bought into. And now, consumers are shifting their tastes. Consumers determine record sales, not record labels. See, record labels are going to give the consumers what the consumers are looking for. And if the world is saying, here's the type of music we want, here's the type of music we don't want, because of the association of this music to this, it begins to affect album sales and streaming to where record labels will have to now ditch it. So they're hypocrites. Okay? They're hypocrites. They're ditching rap now after they've pushed and also they've played a role. They played a huge role in the production of that filth and promotion of that filth in our society. They played a huge role in this. But nonetheless, the record labels did not make rappers and artists in the hip-hop community do what hip-hop have been known to do in terms of the violence. Okay? It's one thing. Art, okay, we all know art. Most people are able to separate art from reality. Okay, when we go to watch movies and we see Al Pacino portray a gangster in a movie, none of us walk out there and think Al Pacino is a real gangster in real life. We can separate that because we know that that's acting. When we see Denzel Washington play a role in Training Day, we respect him for his artistic ability, the ability for him to conform and play different character. Most of us are able to separate that, knowing that Denzel Washington is playing a character. But when it comes to rap, for some reason, our young men and women aren't able to separate that lifestyle when it comes to art and reality. And we've seen this brought into communities where it has now caused a mayhem. You get quite a lot of death, murder rates as a result of the lifestyle of rappers. Rappers have gone down every year. A couple of them got gone down today due to the violence that we're seeing that's translated, that's associated with rap music and the lifestyle. Rap on its own, in terms of the beauty of that art, it's beautiful on its own in terms of the way to express your viewpoints in an artistic way, playing on words. That's beautiful on its own. However, we began to see this fall into the cracks of violence. Okay? And most people in the African community, I would say most, because I want to give the African American communities their flowers here. Most people within the African American communities have called this out. They call this out every day. I have seen it and I've witnessed it. It's not something they condone. However, we have to talk about this. Now, why is this something that is important to talk about? Because when you're looking at Afrobeat rise, the record labels are using Afrobeats as black music to replace rap and potentially hip-hop eventually. Hip-hop artists today who are moving into the West are trying to gain mass attention from Western audience. What we're seeing is an influence of rap artists potentially could influence Afrobeat artists' behavior. Potentially. I saw what's her name? I saw Davido, a music that he released, the remix for Unavailable. I think he did it with this girl Lado. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Lado or Lado, whatever her name is. I will tell you that I was disgusted when I saw that remix, because the number of times she used the F and the N word to rap in that remix really disgusted me. See, that is the past. Davido is the future. And that kind of collaboration is what I'm talking about here. Is that when we're seeing the decline of rap, I don't think it was smart for him to have done a remix with her. I mean, what was the point? I don't think that was smart. The song alone was huge by itself. What was the need of the remix for? Because that's what you're seeing, is that the industry is moving away. Consumers are saying, we no longer want this type of music. We no longer. It's causing more harm than good. It's one thing to be artistic. It's one thing to express yourself artistically. It's another thing for that to influence public and to have people behave the way they behave on stage in our society. This is what's going on. So consumers, they shifted that we don't want this, which is why record labels are saying, oh, okay, we got to leave this alone because it's not selling. No one is streaming this anymore because consumers have shifted. But when you think of R&B, when you think of Afrobeat, and the reason why Afrobeat is such loved by everyone is because Afrobeats represent the best part of our human society. The love story, the beauty of it, the lyrics are clean. Afrobeat, which is what everyone jives with. When you look at the Latin music, for those of you who listen to Latin music, I listen to a little bit of it, and you're not going to hear any of that. You're not going to hear it. There's and I've talked about this on my platform. There is a gentleman here that he still owns a salsa club. And once in a while, I will go there with my friends, and my wife and I will go there sometimes too. And he's had this club now going on 28 years. He passed away last year. And he would have, Sundays or salsa and merengue lessons, So we'll go there for salsa lessons and training. And then Fridays, Saturdays are his top days. And when my friends and I will go there, he would make a point to talk to us. I think he's Mexican. I think he is. I think he's Mexican. And he would engage us. Hey, my brothers, how are you? And he would love to just engage us. And one day when I went there, I asked him, I said, why don't you play R&B and hip hop here once in a while? Because he's got a crowd. I mean, that place gets packed, right? It gets packed. It's Latin music all night. And people are just there having a great time, having an awesome time. So I say, one of the times when they say, why don't you play Latin rap and hip hop in here? And he said, my brother, and he pulled me to the side because it was loud inside. So he pulled me outside. He said, and he's an older gentleman. He's old and he passed away. May his soul rest in peace. He passed away last year. Pulled me to the side and said, when he first started the club, right? His club has been around now 28 years. Can you imagine that? 28 years. When he first started the club, he would have a hip hop Wednesday, right? And that went on. But he got too many people walking there, causing fights and shooting up the place. And it went on and it was bad for business. This is what he said. It was bad for business. He had to shut it down. I've been going there now for I've been going there for, Jesus, 7 years. I think I've been going there on and off. 7 years. I've never once had anyone in there fight in that place or anyone in there coming with a gun. When I used to live in New York, there's a place called the Exit, Club Exit. I was in fashion for a while. Most of you have heard me tell my story. I was a fashion producer in New York. And Club Exit in New York is a known club that most people will go for album release party. So this is where I met a lot of artists. So anytime there's an album release party, this Club Exit was known for it. There were a couple of other clubs, but Club Exit was a known place in New York. Anyone from New York know about Club Exit. There's another one. In Manhattan, Webster Hall. If you've ever been in New York, you know what I'm talking about. These were like, now they've fallen off the chart. They're not really popular anymore. Back then they were. When I would go to Club Exit, I guarantee you, it was every other night there was something going on up in there. People came there smoking weed. I mean, in New York, it's against the law to smoke in any building in New York. They did away with that years ago. But never mind that. They were coming there smoking weed, and there was occasional fights that broke out in there. Occasional fight. The city I live in, there's been 4 hip-hop and rap, it's more than that have opened and closed in the last 6 years in the city I live in. I don't know what it is. So I'm not just saying, when we're looking at this, and I'm sure most of you, when you know what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying stuff. Most of you know this. When it comes to hip hop clubs and rap clubs, the places don't stay open because someone is in there with a gun. Someone is in there to show out. Someone is in there to act a fool. And this is what we're seeing in terms of the decline of that music genre. It is sad that the community, the hip hop community, we're all struggling with it. It's not just the hip hop community. This is coming to this has been affecting everyone. It is the same thing we're saying with the degenerates that we're seeing robbing liquor stores. It's the same thing we're saying. Robbing all the stores in town is the behavior that we're seeing. It is the behavior we're seeing with a high murder rate. The high murder rate that we're seeing in society today. It's a behavior we're seeing with the black on black crimes that people tend to always want to whitewash that and say, oh, what about the white people? It's the type of thing we're seeing that people cannot just go out and have a good time without some fool coming in there with a gun, without some fool coming in there to show out. This is what we're seeing. And now, here is a dilemma. Because when rap music finally goes away, and believe this, it will go away. We're talking about there's not going to be a future in rap music anymore. If the record labels are not signing you, how are you going to make money? Yeah, you can self-promote yourself, but come on. I'm in marketing, trust me. Marketing is a huge part of an artist's success. I know the engine that goes behind marketing. I know the ins and outs that go behind the marketing of a product. I've done it for 20 years. That is the engine. Most artists aren't able to do that by themselves. The record labels have the money. The record labels have the influence to do this. If they're not signing you, how are you going to make money? So eventually we're going to see the end of it. Now, what are that sector of black community going to do? And naturally, they're going to go to Afrobeats. Naturally, that's the next. That naturally, because I don't see the likes of Lil Wayne. I don't see him or Nicki Minaj. I don't see them jumping into Spanish, singing Spanish music. I don't see that happening. I mean, they could learn the language, but I don't see it. So the chances are hip hop music is what is naturally going to happen. Now, what happens with hip hop music? Afrobeat music, excuse me, is naturally where everyone is moving into black music. Now, here's the problem I have. Is that when I see the likes of Davido having that type of collaboration, I worry that a lot of Afrobeat artists, with the hopes of trying to lure in the hip-hop community, are going to try to compromise. That would be the wrong move. That would be the wrong move. Hit the like button. Come on, guys. We have 351 people watching this. We got to hit the like button. Come on. Hit the like button. Let's go.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace.
Come on, let's hit the like button.
Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no option.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Don't treat me like your stepchild.
Now I'm not the problem, man. That's on you. Yeah. You've been terrorizing me. Yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb.
Let's hit the like button.
Are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately.
All right. Thank you, guys. So, let me talk about 2050. You guys have often heard me say 2050 is a significant year. Now, we've seen the stats in terms of hip hop, in terms of rap, in terms of Afrobeat, in terms of Latin music. I'm going to focus mostly on our music, Afrobeat. Now, here's what's driving the growth. In addition to what I've just talked about in terms of the clean version, which is a huge part of this, by the way. The clean version of it, because with Afrobeat music, you don't have to have two versions of the song when they're playing it on a radio station. You know, like the clean version and the explicit version. You don't have to have that with Afrobeat. It's one version. They play that, they stream that, that's it. Right? And I would imagine with Latin music, the same thing. And that's not what we see with rap music. They got to have two versions, clean and explicit version. I would imagine studios and record, they're tired of that. In addition to the clean version of that, here's what's driving the growth. I've often said that in 2050, and I would like to show you some few things also in terms of what data has shown, the growth of population growth is another huge part of the growth of Afrobeat. And there's also a significant growth for Nigerians. Now, if you're a Nigerian watching me, I need you to understand that your presence and your position in the world is about to change. This ain't gaslighting you. Your presence and your position is about to change. There was a study conducted that talked about where the population of the world will be. And I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you some of these things. By 2050, Nigeria will be the third largest country in the world. Now, what does that mean? Because there are people that say that is a bad thing, while others say it's a good thing. And they mirror the poverty in Nigeria with that being bad. I'm gonna use India to compare to Nigeria for a second. Because the poverty in India is over 1 billion people, and their poverty is 2 times that of Nigeria. But that has not prevented India and Indians from making such a huge, remarkable presence in the world. Poverty is a huge part, but the poverty growth, right, isn't a part to dictate or tell the influence of a people in the world. So behind India and China, or I should say China and India, Nigeria will be the third largest. It is estimated that Nigeria's growth by 2050 will be 377 million. By 2050, 377 million. Hold on, let me show you what I'm talking about. So you know that I'm not just pulling things off. Hold on. I'm going to give you some studies that have been conducted by Pew Research. Most of you who follow me know that I reference Pew Research a lot because Pew Research Center is a credible source for data and statistics and projection. Okay, so let me go in here real quickly. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. Some of you guys can see this. All right. So here's the projection that people have for the growth or where Nigeria would be by 2050. This is one by Al Jazeera. They picked a lot of these stuff from Pew Research. By 2050. So India will be 1.6 billion. China 1.3, Nigeria 377 million. The United States will be less than Nigeria by 375 million. Okay. Here's where it says with Pew Research Center right here. See, Nigeria is the 7th most populous country in the world with 206 million. This is when they wrote it. This is back when did they have this? 2020. Okay. So of course we know that Nigeria's population has grown since then. By 2100. Okay. So these ones are even looking far into the future. It's projected that the world's 3rd most populous country ahead of the United States will be Nigeria, 733 million. Okay, that's by 2100. Now, what does that mean? Let me tell you what that means. Let me tell you how significant that means to you. When China was coming up, China, who everyone is like raving about right now. China, who everyone is like, oh, okay, China is such a world dominance power. I mentioned in one of my videos that China has been in existence for over 4,000 years. And China, it wasn't up until 30 years ago that we saw the emergence of China. China 30 years ago was when they began building their country. They've been around for almost over 4,000 years. But their development started 30 to 40 years ago. Now, what caused that development? The United States played a role in the development of China. So China's products, or we all know that's why the China market needs the United States, because a lot of the products are imported into this country, or exported into this country, I should say. So the U.S. helped to build the Chinese economy. And that's how we saw China emerge from the status they were and they've been in for thousands of years to where now they're part of the first world status. United States, being the most powerful country in the world, helped to build the economy of China. Now, here's where history will repeat itself in terms of population growth. As China is growing, India is growing. Nigerians are up in there. The labor market of Nigeria is going to play a role because the Chinese market is going to utilize the labor market of this country called Nigeria as well as India to advance its interests around the world. The same way China benefited from the United States is the same way Nigeria is going to benefit from China when China takes in the position of the world power. Because I understand that there's going to be a power dynamic shift by 2050. It is something that everyone is afraid of. Now, what does that help with the music? The rise of Afrobeats all over the world is going to play a huge role in the development of Nigerian market because Afrobeat is going to be exported into China. Nollywood is going to be exported into China because China is going to be the largest economy very, very shortly. China and India are going to be the largest. Nigeria being the 3rd largest country by 2050 is going to gain from that share profit, from that growth, as significant as China did when the United States, when they were coming up 30 years ago. You get this? So that's significant. It's also significant that Nigerians here in the United States, with their current population, have been able to emerge as one of the top ethnic groups here in the United States. What do you think is going to happen by 2050? And while we're talking about the browning of America, what we're talking about by 2050, there's going to be a cultural shift. and it's been written and it's been studied by Pew also, that immigrants, let me show you this. Let me show you this real quickly. Hold on, let me show you this. Okay, take a look at this. All right, so here's something that Pew put together. And this is, in terms of the growth of immigrant groups. Black immigrants differ from U.S.-born population immigrants overall on income and education. Look at the growth of U.S. immigrants compared to black population in the United States. Okay. So U.S.-born black population, 22%. U.S. immigrants, 33%. U.S. black immigrants, 31%. Now, here's what's going on. What's affecting this growth? Because understand that these guys come in here because there's people that would like to say, "Oh, these are illegals." They're not illegals. The reason why the black population in the United States isn't growing is because the black population has stayed constant. When you look at the when the census, the 2020 census came out, because population growth is going to play a pivotal role in this music we're talking about, as well as the success of Nigerians in this country. When you look at the U.S. census that came out in 2020, there was a growth in Hispanics. The Hispanics grew to 17% of the population from what they were in 2010, because the census is usually done every 10 years. The white community declined a little bit. They make up 66% of the population. I think they dropped a little bit within this 2020 census. African Americans in 2010 made up 12.9% of the population, roughly 13% of the population in 2010. When they conducted the 2020 census, the African American community did not grow. They remained at 13% of the population, roughly 44 million in population. The reason for that has a lot to do with the murder rate, incarceration, and also abortion. These are the three things that affected that community from growing. So when you're seeing that Pew Research Center with immigrants outpacing growth, has nothing to do with influx of immigrants into this country. It has everything to do with the stagnation of the growth of African Americans due to these three factors that I've just told you. As a matter of fact, if you look at the population of Nigerians in this country and contrast it to what the population is, the studies show that 1% was only 1% of Nigerians that are represented in this country. I mean, I can do the math for you. If you guys want me to do the math for you, I can do the math. Oh, let's do the math. Okay. Let's do the math. Let's find out what is the population of Nigerians in this country. Let's do this. Okay. So, let me show you my screen real quickly. So it says right here that again, give or take, there are about 461 million, thousands Nigerians in the United States. Okay, I'm going to address some people who say Nigerians are flocking to the United States. I want to address that. There are 461,000 Nigerians in the United States, give or take. Okay. And this is according to that's not an exact figure, but let's just use that. Let's talk about what is the current population of Nigeria. Oh, come on. Okay. So, the current population of Nigeria is 213 million. Now, I want you to take your calculator out and I want you to do a simple math, okay? Because we're going to talk about, because we need to address this. Okay, for some of you who are math whiz in the room, I need you to take your math. Can anyone tell me how to determine what is the percentage of Nigerians in the United States Now that you know the population of Nigerians in the country and the population of Nigerians outside of the country. Can someone give me the answer to that? Let me show you again. Here's the population of Nigerians. Okay, so you have that number. Okay, let's just use 462 million. I'm just going to round it up to 462 million just to kind of give, 462,000, sorry. Okay, and here is the population of Nigeria today. Okay, can someone put it in the, if you know, tell me what it is. I know you, I got too many Nigerians watching me. I know you guys are math weeds over there. What is that population representing the United States? Anybody know? Okay, I'll tell you. It's 0.2%. Okay. So the way to get that number is basically you divide the population, the number represented here in the United States, by the total population of Nigerians overall. You get that number and convert it to percentage. Now, there's only 0.2% of Nigerians here in the United States. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. And so when we project out in terms of how many more Nigerians are possibly going to be here by 2050, it says 377 million. So if you're going to have 377, Nigeria will grow by 377 million by 2050. And you want to determine how much of that is going to be in the United States. Basically, you just have to look at what we have right now. If you want to double that number, I don't think you can double that number, but just go ahead and just add. They just say Nigerians will be what? In the United States, possibly Nigerians will probably be 500,000 by then. So either way, Nigerians are going to be represented by 0.3% or 0.4, even 1% of Nigerians are going to be represented in this country. That's not a lot. Now, the reason why I did all of that is because there's this misconception that while immigrants are coming to this country, there's this misconception by a huge part of the African American community that Nigerians are just flooding this country. Nigerians are not flooding this country. They're not. Relative to their population, there's only less than 1%, 0.2% of Nigerians representing this country. And the 0.2% of Nigerians representing this country are the ones that are just breaking the boundaries and the barriers here in this country. The huge percentage of immigrant flux that we're going to see are going to be the Hispanic and Latin community. That community is going to grow substantially. Right now, that community is 17%. I think projectively, again, they'll get up to 20-something% of the population. That's what we're going to see. Now, here's the conundrum that I think that those who struggle with the rise of Afrobeat, and there are people that are struggling with the rise of Afrobeat, here's what they're going to find with this. Hold on. Somebody said 2%. You're right. I didn't do my conversion. Hold on. You're right. Because I didn't multiply by, hold on, let me convert that. Someone said 2%? I don't think so. No. You got that one wrong. Okay. So that's what you're going to find, is that you're going to see the reason why these two groups, on top of the fact that the music is clean, on top of the fact that the music is a clean type of music that we're seeing, what you're going to find also is that the population growth plays a role into this whole thing. Nigerians are going to be very significant with the Afrobeat. I think what we're going to see is that a lot of people from the hip hop community are going to move into the Afrobeat music genre to also begin to adopt this new music genre. It's going to be a struggle for a lot of them. It's going to be a struggle. But I think that's what we're going to see, because where are black people going to go? Where are African Americans going to go in terms of music? They naturally have to go to the Afrobeat genre, music genre. And so the Afrobeat will not have to dictate the behavior that's different from what a lot of us have seen with rap music. the sagging of the pants, the using of N-words, the violence, that's going to stop. And that is a good thing for society. That's a good thing for society. Now, you're going to find the ones that are not going to be happy with this because there's a segment of that population that really, truly hates African and don't like Nigerians. And that needs to be called out. We can't shy for that. Because every Nigerian know, if you've been brought into this country, if you migrate into this country, you know about the name calling from that population, from that group, African booty scratcher. We all have been called this. There's a huge population in that, there's a huge segment in that community that's going to struggle with this. On top of the fact that their population is declining due to the three things that I've just told you about. They're going to struggle with this. And there's going to be a population that's going to adopt this. These are the ones we're seeing already. But most of us know that when we came to this country, we know the sheer abuse that we got from a lot of people in that community. That percentage of people are going to struggle with that. And then the others are going to adopt this. Because I for one, would like to see rap eradicated. I, for one, I would like to see it go away. I would like to see rap go away. I think rap has done more harm than good. I think rap has done more. Hip hop overall has been positive. Hip hop overall has been a good music genre, but I think rap has done more harm to society than good. I would like to see that eradicated. If it evolved into something else, great. But that whole entire thing is not working out. Because even I don't play it. I don't play rap music. I stopped playing it a long time ago. My children don't listen to that. I don't put it on because it's got too much of that. And I can't, you guys know how I feel about it. The whole N-word thing, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I really can't. It makes my whole blood boil when I hear someone say it. And I've said it also. The moment I hear an Afrobeat artist say that, that will be the day that we path ways. I can't stand for the N-word. For reasons that I've mentioned in my videos. This is something that they use to lynch our people. And to have black people glorify that in this country as though it's nothing is to disrespect their lineage and their ancestors. And also themselves, by the way. To have people from the Hispanic community use the N-word. You don't find us using words to... This is the thing. You don't find black people using racial epithets to describe anyone from the Hispanic community. You don't find this. And there are words, but you don't find them using it. But you see that happen, and I can't stand for it. Which is why I think that the whole rap thing needs to just die off. It's a disgrace right now. Not to mention our children, they're being affected by this. So I, for one, think that society is determining where we go as a music, because we as consumers are tired of it, which is why the record labels are like, no, we're not going to play this anymore. We're done with this because no one is buying or streaming this anymore. It's a done deal. I only worry for the Afrobeat music genre. I only worry. And I have a huge concern about that. I really have a concern that we're going to see a little bit of that infiltrated in Afrobeat. And the record labels are going to sell Afrobeats with that. Until people decide that they don't want to be part of it again. I have a fear about that. I think that it's going to take a while, but I think eventually, I hope by the time that rap would have been eradicated totally. Because Afrobeat artists don't need to emulate that. If anything, they need to influence the new artists. We don't need the likes of Davido collaborating with, and we don't need that. If anything, he needs to tell her, like, yeah, you have to chill and kill that with the N-word. You got to kill all of that. He doesn't need to do that. He needs to influence that positively because that is a done deal. You get what I'm saying? There are 542 people watching this. Hit the like button. You know, hit the like button. Yeah. The over-sexualization of rap is bad. And listen, I'm trying to be very, I'm trying to tiptoe around this as best as I can. But I think most of you get the point, because when we're seeing the decline of society and we're seeing how people are behaving due to the culture of what that influence is pretty bad. It is pretty bad. And kudos to the African American communities that are calling this out. Kudos to them. Because they get attacked by their own members of their own community for calling out the degenerates' behavior in their communities. Kudos to them. It's not easy to stand and call out filth. It's not easy to do that. Kudos to those men and women that call that out. Because I understand that if I start to see Afrobeat artists doing that, I'm going to call them out too. Because it's our job to call out a lot of these filth that go on in society. It's our job to do it. It is our job to do it. Because I think that for most part, black people overall, whether they're Africans or whether they're African Americans, I think that the intent and the what we like to see with our music is a good, clean version of our music. I don't think most black people like what we're seeing in society. I don't think we like that. Now, of course, we all have to hold ourselves responsible for streaming or listening to that, or promoting in anywhere. I think we all bear the responsibility on this. But kudos to everyone that calls that out. And I'm glad to see Afrobeat really replacing that. I really am. Because our kids coming up today, especially with the generation that we're moving into, can find a music genre that they feel they can connect with, and it can be something of pride and of good substance. They don't need to be using the B word in music. They don't need to be using the F words in music. They don't need to be saying all of that. They don't need that. When you go to a place, to a club, you don't need to be afraid that someone might pull up something, a gun, at the club. You don't need to walk around like that. Music's supposed to be enjoyed. Music is supposed to be felt. It crosses boundaries. You don't need to have that type of situation. You don't need it. You get what I'm saying? Good job. Thank you, my moderator, for really moderating the chat. You see, this is what I'm talking about. You have people that come in here to the chat, and they are just exactly what I'm talking about. They come and defend filth. This is what I'm talking about. They come and defend it. Because they think that you calling something out is you attacking the community. These are the problems in society. I don't care how you're feeling about it. You're not going to do that on my platform. Go do that somewhere else. Go do that somewhere else. And I think that with Nigerians, here's the part that I'm going to talk about right now, and I'm going to close real quickly. In terms of Nigerians' partnership, Nigerians will need to understand who your friends are, because I will tell you that the reason why Afrobeat became a big music genre is because we touched everyone. We collaborate with everyone. As much as we do that, not everyone is on this ride with us. I mentioned how we've seen the animosity in Africa with Ghanaians. We've seen it with Cameroonians, couple of years ago, these two countries were calling for the ban of Nigerian music. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? They were calling for a ban. Truly went to their government to ask the government to put in a wide ban of Nigerian Afrobeat music in their country. And then here in the United States, we have a segment of the population who are just fighting Nigerians all day. They see the rise of Nigerians as a threat to them. And these are people that look like us. These are people that we stretch arms out and we collaborate with and we welcome in, but they see us as a threat. And those are the ones that come into my chat right now talking nonsense. These are the ones that are causing the demise of our society. You're just wasting your time because I'm the wrong one. Because I'll just block you and send you on your way. I don't have time for that. You know, I'm just not the one. I don't have the time for that. Because the only people that I want to talk to are people that have sense, common sense, logical reasoning, looking to build the black community, looking to build the African culture, looking to collaborate. Those are the ones I care about. The ones that come around here talking this. You're a waste of societal time. And I will say it again, rap is filth. Rap is filth. And so I'm glad to see that the record labels are starting to recognize this. And they say, yeah, here's where we want to go. Here's the direction we want to go. And I think that that's a good thing. You know, I think that's a great thing. I don't know the last time I heard a hip hop music or rap music I was proud of. I don't know the last one. I think for me now, when I play one on my Pandora, I go as far back as the 90s. You know, far back as the 90s. And I just play the clean version. The versions that we're seeing is just ridiculous. I don't even watch the award shows anymore. I don't watch the BET. I don't watch. Did you see what happened on stage at the BET award last one? Did you see what happened on stage at the Essence Festival? Did you see what happened at the Mocha Fest in Houston? I mean, did you see what happened at these places? Okay. And I think that genre really influenced this. I really think so. Now, of course, there are other things that contribute to these degenerate behaviors. Music is not just it, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the influence and the negativity that rap has had in society, which is what's causing this. And that's a good thing. I'm glad they stopped playing it. I'm glad they stopped. I'm only doing this video because I want to talk about the concern I have with how some Afrobeat artists are trying to collaborate with some rappers just so they can get the audiences for this. No, you don't need to do all that. You don't need to do that. There's a huge world out there that you don't. Afrobeat was huge without the collaborations of rappers. I mean, what's the deal? Yeah, I get that. See, there's a person in the chat right here. Says, as far as rap music is concerned, most of us who liked it in its infancy stage now hate it due to the devotion and degradation of our culture. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you, because I used to love it too. I used to love it. But you can't be a good citizen and not call out the filth in our cultures. You can't. And if you're that type of person, I don't want such people on my platform. I don't talk to people like that, because I'll say something that's going to upset you, and I'm rightfully saying it, hoping to piss you off. So you don't come back. Go away. Go away. Because I don't want, you can't defend evil. You can't. It doesn't make me feel good when I see a young African-American man got gunned down. That could have been a good life, a life that could have changed our society. It doesn't make me feel good when I see a young woman gunned down by act of violence, and these are rappers. Do you get what I'm saying? And it's high time that we call these things out without being labeled as you're hating on, dude. Last time I checked, I'm a black man. Last time I checked, I'm an American. Last time I checked, I live in the United States. Last time I checked, I'm part of the community. Do you get what I'm saying? Because we need to celebrate the best part of us. And I think that with R&B represents a good part of us. Because again, I know there's some crazy stuff with R&B, but R&B is not to that level right there. R&B is a beautiful music that I still enjoy. Doesn't reach that level. And when I watch Beyonce on stage, she gives me joy and she makes me feel proud of what she's been able to accomplish. When I watch the likes of others like her, those are good. Those are a good part of our music genre. That's what we want to see. You get what I'm saying? Hit the like button, guys. My goodness. We have 505 people watching this. We got 505 people watching this. Please hit the like button. That's my thought on this. That is my thought on this. And to wrap this whole thing up, I think that what I would like to see more is to see, because I don't see this a lot. Because again, when we talk about Afrobeat and all that, I see it when I watch people listen to Afrobeat and dance to Afrobeat. I see more of people other than African Americans jiving to this. Right? I would like to see more African Americans really promoting Afrobeats. Because your music, it's your music. It's part of you. We're all one in this. You understand that? We're all one in this. It's a good thing. It's a music that's going to help to give our young men and women a different version of how we represent ourselves. It's a good thing. It's not a competition. Do you understand that? It's a good cultural music. See, I'd like to see more of that. I don't see a lot of that. I think I see a lot of the battles between hip hop and R&B. It's not necessary. You get what I mean? I would like to see more African Americans really adopting this and not just seeing white people, because I see a lot of white people playing our Afrobeats. Hispanics, Latinos. I like to see African Americans playing this, right? But that's where we're gonna have to be. Yep. That's what we're gonna be. Someone says Afrobeat is big in Atlanta. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm seeing some of your chats up here, and your chat reflects exactly what most people in society are talking about. In terms of where we are as a society. This is why most people are not playing those. And Atlanta has a huge population of Nigerians in Atlanta. Houston does. Where's the other place? Dallas. New York. I used to live in New York, so I know. I think that's why you see a lot of that Afrobeat played in those areas. But when you look at Chicago and all of that, you don't see too much of that because most Nigerians are not in those areas. This is why I say I think I would like to see more African Americans adopting this, because I think that there's still a struggle for them with the rise of Afrobeats. Not all of them. There's a small percentage that are adopted this. But I think that they're struggling with it. You have to get with the program. Right? You have to get with the program. And I am so proud of Afrobeats. I really am. I really am proud of Afrobeats. I really am. Not because Nigerians created it, that's a part of it, a huge part of it, but because I can leave the music playing and my kids can be in the room and I can just walk out. Do you get what I mean? I can have it play in the car without having to watch what is said and censor it. My kids can listen to it and I can just not worry about any curse words or filth or any word calling someone the B word or using the F word or the N word. My 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds don't need to be hearing that. Which is why I'm very, very proud of it. And it's something that I think most people are proud of too. Because as much as I like Spanish music, I don't speak Spanish. My kids don't speak Spanish. We enjoy it. I enjoy it in terms of recreational. I go to those places, but we're not a Spanish family. So to have a black music that represents us in a very clean way, it's a good thing. And I think everyone appreciates that. And here's another impact Afrobeat is making in the world. Look at this guy. Look at Seun Kuti. This is the power of Afrobeat. Look at Seun Kuti was in Paris Fashion Week recently. He was featured. He walked the wrong way. That is the power of Afrobeat that Nigerians are having right now. That's a tremendous power to have the son of the founder of this music genre walk the wrong way and then representing the colors, our flag colors, in Paris. Let me tell you about how significant that is. Let me tell you how significant that is. For those of you, I don't know, I've gotten new subscribers since, and so you may not have heard my story. I used to be a fashion producer in New York, and I had the opportunity to work for the likes of Giorgio Armani. I used to work for, and I worked in the corporate office, and I worked on the haute couture, which are expensive garment. And I met Mr. Armani personally. And I was part of the team that put together Fashion Week in New York at the tent. It's a very prestigious thing. Fashion Week in New York was held twice a year, February and in August. No, February and September. And then we'll go to Vegas after that for the Vegas trade show, which is Magic, the largest trade show in the world. But Fashion Week in New York is huge. Essentially, any music played there or any representation there is huge. It's not a small thing. People wait on a list to get into the tent to be invited to Fashion Week in New York. It's a significant thing. To have him, that is huge. See, I can appreciate that because I was in that industry and I understand how significant that is. That is huge. And I know he knew this. This is why he took on that opportunity. That is the impact Nigerians are making. And that's just one of many that's going to happen. Nigerians are going to dominate for a long time. For a long time. And the great thing is that we are not just in the music thing, which is a good thing. See, music is one thing, but Nigerians are far, they've transcended music. They were so far in every areas of life. So far that anyone that collaborates with Nigerians is a smart person. You collaborate with Nigerians, you're a smart person. I had a girl ask me one time, long time ago, what is it that you guys do differently in terms of raising your kids? She's an African American. What do you do differently? How is it that you guys, your kids, go to school, become doctors, engineers? What do you do differently that we are not doing? And it was a good question, but I was very careful to answer that because we're not any better than African Americans. Do you understand that? We're not better than them. We're not any better than them. The only thing we do differently is that we raise our kids from the jump into a certain lifestyle. That's the difference. Right? Like my kids right now, they know that their goal in life, is to either become software engineers or become anywhere in the medical field. That is their field. And we are raising them towards that. Our son Caleb is in the third grade. He's an honor roll student. When my son was 4 years old, he began reading. They read to me every night. My son reads like he's in the middle school. He reads like in the middle school. Every day they read to me. Right after I'm done with work, we're reading before they go to bed. Every day. 5 pages. Our daughter, who is 5 years old, started reading at 4 years old because that's when her brother started reading at 4 years old. So she's reading at 4 years. She's 5 now. And she's in kindergarten. There's a school here that my wife and I are looking at, which is in a high school that you only get to go at 8th grade. So they only have you there for 4 years. And in the 4 years that you're in that high school, it's only 400 students overall. It's a highly competitive high school. 400 students they have overall in the entire school. By the time you're done with your 4 years, you would have had your associate's degree. So all you need is 2 years of. We reached out to the school and we asked him, what is it that we need him to start doing? Because that's the school he's going. Because the next after that is Yale or Harvard. But we don't just talk to talk. We have our kids every day. My kids are reading to me. They're doing a math problem. They go to school, they come back. We pick them up at 6 because we got to work. And they're in Adventure Club, extended school thing. So they stay there until we come and get them. My wife goes to get them every day. When they come home, they read to me every day. We are preparing them already. And I've told them, this is your path. You're not doing nothing. Science is all you're doing. Science, that's it. You can pick anything you want to work in the sciences. Preferably medical or software, and that's your path. And they know this. I think that's what many people do differently. And I told her this. And my wife and I, we don't compromise on this. We are like in sync with this. This is it. And I think most Nigerians, that's how they raise their kids. And so that's why most of us are in the fields that we're in and become the success that we become, because our parents really push that in us. We're not any different. We're not any better than the African American community, but there are some things that we do differently than them. There's some things they do differently than us. There's some success they have that we don't have. There's successes that we have that they don't have. And so we learn from each other. But I know when it comes to us raising our kids, we just have a standard. That's it. Our kids don't listen to no. They're not on the phones. We don't allow them with their phones. Weekend is only when they watch TV. No TV on during the school week. They come, 6 o'clock, they read to me, take a bath. Their mother bathe them, and they're off to bed. Start all over. Friday night, they can watch TV. And even that is very limited. Friday, Saturday, they can watch TV. Sundays, they get ready for the school week. And that's what we've raised our kids at. And they become used to this. They're known, our kids are known for, they become used to it. They wake up every morning, they make their bed before they come and say good morning to their parents. Sundays are chores days. Chores, like today. They did their chores. They come in and they glad, we gotta do our chores. They go and do their rooms. They clean, they dust their rooms, and they come and say, Dad, we're done. And I go there and inspect it. They do this they've been doing this for years. This is how we're raising our kids. I don't think we're unique with this. There are many families that raise their kids like this. We're not unique in this. But it has to start from your kids. It has to start from home, because that's how they're going to grow up to become productive members of society. So I'm glad that my culture has something that it provides to the next generation. I'm glad that Nigerians have discovered the Afrobeat thing, because that's what I want to give my kids. I don't want to be raising my kids in the effort that we're doing just so they can go and listen to some garbage in school. Now, I can't control what they listen to, but I am putting a foundation in their lives that I know fully well when they get to college, they're not going to be involved in that. You get what I mean? You got to raise your kids right, which is too many degeneracy going on in the world. It's too much of that. And kudos to Nigerians for really coming and stepping in, for God's sakes. Stepping in and giving us a new, fresh breath of music. Kudos. I'm going to say it till the cows come home. Because we needed this. We needed this. Because everyone was watching and looking at the black community as filth. Do you get what I mean? And now to find that people can be part of our culture, because they see now that the black community is in real filth. They're not filth. And we've come up with a music genre that everyone can appreciate. This is kudos to Nigerians, for God's sakes. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Anyone who's got anything to say about us, you can keep that a buck. You can keep it by yourself. I don't care. We didn't come in and change society for you. You're welcome. you're welcome. I'd rather you say thank you and be on your way. If you got something negative to say, just say thank you and be on your way. I don't want to hear it because we've come and we've changed the game positively. You know, shout out to Fela Kuti. You know, shout out to the Kuti family. Sheung, Femi, his sisters, I can't remember their names. But shout out to their family because they gave us a gift. All right, everyone. That's all. That's it for today. Thank you all for joining. I truly appreciate you guys being here. Please like the videos. Like the video, share the content. Thank you all for being here. I truly, truly appreciate that.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying